Hi, welcome to HiCode Tutorials. In this chapter, we'll discuss how to store and render values in HiCode. In other words, temporarily store and process data in the front end and combine them with user interface. Manipulating data is an essential part of programming, and you'll find yourself more comfortable with it through practice. In this video, we're going to look at variables. What are their characteristics and how to add them in a project. A variable is originally a math concept. In mathematics, a variable is a symbol and placeholder for a quantity that may change, or any mathematical object. Nowadays, it is also a fundamental concept in programming. Variables are containers for storing data values, and as their name suggests, values of variables usually change a lot when we run the program. They hold values for other widgets to use, and we can assign and reassign its value as we like. Moving on to the characteristics of HiCode variables. In HiCode, every variable must be identified with unique names, and they are accessed through this name. In HiCode, we usually select the variable we want in the object tree or in drop-down lists. Second, every variable in HiCode has some specific type that determines the range and layout of the value it stores, and the set of operations that one can perform on that variable. In HiCode, we have strings, number, boolean, JSON, array, matrix object, and time variables. When variables are declared or created, the system will allocate different types of storage for them. And third, new values override the previous one. You won't be able to find the discarded ones back. Next, let's look at how to add variables. Actually, it is quite simple. Select the parent, go to the widget bar, and single-click on the variable you want, and it is done. But what we need to pay attention to is the parent. That determines whether it is a global variable or a local variable. Global variables belong to the whole program. However, if we add a variable to an action widget, it has this blue icon here, we won't be able to access it from the external. It belongs to this specific routine, only accessible through this set of actions. And last, it is a good habit to identify your variables with easy-to-recognize names. Because when we later work on more complicated applications, we're not gonna have just one or two variables. In that case, when we maintain our projects, random variable names will certainly give us headaches. Also, I would suggest sorting variables into different wraps. It doesn't have any actual effect, just to make the editor tidier and more readable. Now I'm going to give you an example of adding variables in the editor. So first, select a parent in the object tree. For now, I'm going to select this stage. And go to the widget bar to find the icons in yellow, and they are the variables. Remember that if you are going to have a lot of variables, and you can group them together with this wrap. And since I'm going to add a variable to the stage, it is a global variable, and I'm going to give this wrap a name called global variable. Now select this wrap and add a string variable to it. Say I want to use this to store usernames. By the way, when you want to rename something, just double-click on it. Giving your objects a proper name is always a good habit. Otherwise, you may lose track of what you are working on later when you have a lot of objects here. And I may need some actions, so I'm going back to the stage and have another wrap for actions. The actions are going to be under the stage, so double-click on this wrap and name it Global Actions. Add an action, and under this action, notice when I select this, I can still add some variables to it. This string, I'm going to call it temp names. This is just for example, doesn't have any actual effect. But do remember to give proper names to your objects when you're actually working on your own design. What is the difference between these two strings? Let me add a button to the stage and give it an event. And when I want to select the target, it shows an alert. local variable can only be accessed by the current service. It forbids me to choose it. But I can still use this one because this is a global variable. And now we've done with the foundation of variables. And from next lesson, we will introduce these variables one by one. And that is all for this video. Thank you for watching.